definition down and look at it on simpler terms. A steady effort. That's a firmly fixed, balanced attempt to maintain a course of action, purpose, or belief, meaning to keep a goal or a value ongoing and unceasing. In spite of difficulty. This is my favorite part. This ending to our definition means that you are defying all the potential setbacks that could arise and hinder you from reaching your objective. There's no giving up or calling it quits. Okay.
Rant and Rave podcast. This is On the Edge. Stories sent to my email. Sonji's graphics to rant about. Episode title, The Audition. What happens when the person you love puts you in charge of finding your own replacement? Not because he said you weren't enough, but because he said, I want options. She met him online. Not in a club, not through friends, online, months of conversations, late night talks, voice notes, future plans. He spoke like a provider, like a leader, like a man who could take care of her. And she wanted that, security, stability, to be chosen. But then one day, he said something different. The shift. I'm not looking for just one woman. I want multiple women. And I'll choose the one who obeys me. Obeys, not loves me, not understands me, not builds with me. Obeys. And here's the twist. He asked her to help him find them. The couple.
Definition down and look at it on simpler terms. A steady effort. That's a firmly fixed, balanced attempt to maintain a course of action, purpose, or belief, meaning to keep a goal or a value ongoing and unceasing. In spite of difficulty. This is my favorite part. This ending to our definition means that you are defying all the potential setbacks that could arise and hinder you from reaching your objective. There's no giving up or calling it quits. Okay. Definition down and look at it on simpler terms. A steady effort. That's a firmly fixed, balanced attempt to maintain a course of action, purpose, or belief, meaning to keep a goal or a value ongoing and unceasing. In spite of difficulty. This is my favorite part. This ending to our definition
Rant and Rave
means that
podcast.
you
On the Edge with
are
Sonji.
defying
Letters sent for
all the
rants to
potential
Sonji's graphics
setbacks
at
that could arise
gmail.com.
and
Episode
hinder
2,
you from
One
reaching your
Before Many.
objective.
There's a question
There's
nobody
no
wants to
giving up
answer honestly.
or calling it
If you
quits.
can't do right by one, how are you
Okay.
going to do right by
So
many?
now that I
The
just
pattern.
gave you a word
This isn't
lesson,
new. He's talked about
you're
multiple
probably all
women
wondering,
before.
why am I
Expansion,
here?
structure,
Where is this all leading
culture.
to?
But the house isn't
I will
stable.
tell
The
you.
bills aren't light. The savings
I'm
aren't
here
strong. She's already
To
told
help
him,
you
we can't
identify
take on
the
anyone.
relationship
Not another
between the
adult,
word
not even a pet.
perseverance and your
Somehow,
personal success.
that makes her difficult. The tension. He says she's blocking his vision. She says she's protecting their reality. He says she doesn't respect his leadership. She says leadership starts with provision. And then she asks him something he doesn't want to hear. If you can't manage peace with me, how are you going to manage multiple women? Silence. Because that question doesn't attack ego, it attacks capacity. Rant section. Let's be honest. Some people want the image of abundance without the discipline of responsibility. Multiple women sound powerful. Until you realize that means multiple emotions, multiple needs, multiple expectations, multiple financial obligations, and if one relationship feels strained, multiplying it doesn't fix it, it magnifies it. The overseas illusion. So he searches where it's easier. Overseas, where a few dollars feel like security, where admiration is affordable, where nobody sees the real financial picture. From a distance, he looks stable. From a distance, he looks generous. From a distance, he looks like a provider. But distance edits reality. The wife's line, she looks at him and says, "Who wants to be part of a fake life?" That lands, because that's what it feels like. Pretending the foundation is strong while inviting more weight onto it. Pretending there's overflow when there's barely enough. That's not expansion, that's performance. The real issue. He doesn't want to replace her. He wants to feel bigger than his current situation. He wants to feel chosen, admired, followed. But here's the truth. If you can't sustain integrity with one, you cannot sustain fairness with many. If one woman feels unheard, 5 will feel neglected. If one woman feels unstable, many will feel insecure. Multiple women don't create power. Stability does. Integrity does. Provision does. And if you can't build peace with one, adding more isn't growth, it's escape. This is Rant and Rave, and tonight's lesson? Don't multiply what you haven't mastered, because who wants to join a life that's only strong from a distance?
Down and look at it on simpler terms. A steady effort. That's a firmly fixed, balanced attempt to maintain a course of action, purpose, or belief, meaning to keep a goal or a value ongoing and unceasing. In spite of difficulty. This is my favorite part. This ending to our definition means that you are defying all the potential setbacks that could arise and hinder you from reaching your objective. There's no giving up or calling it quits. Okay.
Raise your family with your whole heart and don't divide it. Soft voice, fragile heart.
Rant and Rave, Episode 3, Divided Presence. When distance speaks louder than words. Before the scare, before the confrontation, before pride and humiliation, there was distance. Distance that didn't happen overnight, and distance that did not belong to one person alone. The structure he built. For years, he believed he was building, providing, expanding, operating multiple households, all financially stable, none emotionally grounded. Money moved, bills were paid, expectations were managed, but emotional depth was thin. None of the women had children. Everything looked controlled. It made sense while he was building, grinding, establishing. But now what? Now no one is truly happy. And truthfully, no one would be if they were all under one roof. Because divided presence is not multiplied leadership, it is multiplied pressure. He is not well. He cannot carry the stress of being this version of a man forever. And now, years have been shared, time divided. Best years stretched thin, maintained financially, neglected emotionally. Her side, she grew tired, not of him, but of feeling alone next to him. The bills were paid, responsibilities handled, but emotional support faded. Conversations became surface, affection became routine. When she reached, she felt dismissed. When she expressed emotion, she was labeled sensitive, so she stopped expressing, and emotional abandonment creates vulnerability. The step outside the marriage and thought she was pregnant. It did not begin as betrayal. It began as attention, being heard, being noticed, validation. Then, a scare. Now secrecy becomes fear, fantasy becomes consequence. His side. He felt pressure, financial weight, expectations from multiple spaces. Every question sounded like criticism. Every emotional need felt like accusation. So he hardened, because admitting overwhelm did not feel powerful. Confessing exhaustion did not feel masculine. So he kept performing strength, even while deteriorating. The confrontation. She throws it in his face. You spread yourself too thin. You created households everywhere. You think money replaces presence. You can't suddenly develop good habits of focusing on one home when for years you divided yourself. None of us were emotionally stable, just financially running. Everyone shared, everyone waited. You're not well. You can't carry all of this. That hits deeper than the scare, because now the illusion is exposed. The test? Now he stands at a crossroads. Should he stay? Or should he go? If he stays, he must face the structure he built. If he leaves, he protects pride but avoids growth. If she stays, she must own her betrayal. If she leaves, she confirms his fear. This is no longer about a moment, it is about foundation. Rant and rave. Emotional abandonment is quiet. Infidelity is loud. But both grow from instability. You cannot demand discipline overnight when years were spent divided. You cannot expect emotional health from a structure built on stretch and strain. Provision is not presence. Control is not leadership. And divided loyalty always costs someone their peace. Final word. A scare exposes structure. If ego is stronger than accountability, nothing will change. If growth is stronger than pride, everything can. The real question is not who hurt first. The real question is who is willing to rebuild honestly. Rave, Episode 3, Divine.
Definition down and look at it on simpler terms. A steady effort. That's a firmly fixed, balanced attempt to maintain a course of action, purpose, or belief, meaning to keep a goal or a value ongoing and unceasing. In spite of difficulty. This is my favorite part. This ending to our definition means that you are defying all the potential setbacks that could arise and hinder you from reaching your objective. There's no giving up or calling it quits. Okay.
Rant and Rave Podcast. On the Edge with Sonji. Letters to Sonji's graphics at gmail.com. The Shift, Episode 4. Let's talk about what's really happening. You feel guilty, not because you have her, but because you know you built something that requires more than you can give. She wants presence, she wants touch, she wants reality, and you can't provide that without destabilizing this home. That tension lives inside you, and instead of sitting with it, you displace it. On me, the overlooked fact. For years, I haven't had one clean break. Not one vacation that was just mine. Not one pause that didn't involve responsibility, and now, when I finally say I want time for myself, it's framed as selfish. Let me ask something clearly. Why is it acceptable for you to travel to fix the emotions you created, but unacceptable for me to rest? The real rant. You want to make it right? Start by correcting the energy in this house. Stop coming home irritated because someone overseas is unhappy. Stop making me absorb the weight of a structure I didn't design. Stop treating my boundaries like obstacles. Because here's the part nobody wants to say. If she is lonely, that is a distance problem. If I am exhausted, that is a treatment problem. And treatment starts at home. The mic drop. I am not competing. I am not begging. I am not blocking. I am asking to be treated fairly in the reality that already exists. You cannot fix one woman's loneliness by creating another woman's resentment. If you want to make something right, make this right. The tone, the respect, the way you handle your guilt. Because I refuse to be collateral damage for a connection that only survives through signal strength.
Definition down and look at it on simpler terms. A steady effort. That's a firmly fixed, balanced attempt to maintain a course of action, purpose, or belief, meaning to keep a goal or a value ongoing and unceasing. In spite of difficulty. This is my favorite part. This ending to our definition means that you are defying all the potential setbacks that could arise and hinder you from reaching your objective. There's no giving up or calling it quits. Okay.
The defense. Cause and effect. Words can damage. This is episode 5, and this is where words stop being innocent. Sometimes it's not what was said, it's what was heard. When communication becomes indirect, defensive, or passive-aggressive, the damage is not always loud, but it builds. This episode is about translation. Him, what he says. Her, what she hears. Because words create reaction, and reaction creates outcome. Point 1. He may say, "You don't listen." She thinks, "I hear every word. Are you saying I'm not doing what you ask?" I follow through. I ask questions for clarity sometimes. That doesn't mean I'm not listening. Point 2. He may say, "Maybe you're not built for this." She thinks, "So now I'm inadequate?" I've been trying. If something is wrong, explain it. Don't question who I am because something feels hard. Point 3. He may say, "I'm going to be working a lot of hours." She thinks, "I understand, but when will we have time together? Should I stop expecting that? Am I supposed to just adjust without reassurance?" He may say, "I will keep you but look for another that obeys." She thinks, "So you'll emotionally abandon me after everything I've invested?" The next woman gets the softer side of you while I absorb the pressure. That doesn't sound like love. That sounds like control. Point 5. He may say, "Maybe you need someone else." She thinks, "Are you pushing me away? Is this your exit strategy? Or are you testing whether I'll beg to stay?" 6. He may say, "You're too sensitive." She thinks, "So my feelings don't matter? Instead of addressing what hurt me, you're dismissing me." Point 7. He may say, "I'm the man." She thinks, "Are we building together or competing?" Leadership doesn't require silencing me. Point 8. He may say, "If you can't handle it, just say that." She thinks, "Handle what exactly? I'm trying." But it feels like you're daring me to fail instead of helping me succeed. Cause and effect statements spoken in frustration translate into insecurity. Indirect communication creates defensive reactions. Passive aggression plants seeds of resentment. And then both people wonder why the atmosphere feels tense. Words may feel small in the moment, but they echo, and echo turns into attitude. Attitude turns into distance. Distance turns into damage. On the defense. Cause and effect. Words can damage. This is episode 5, and this is where words stop being innocent. Sometimes it's not what was said, it's what was heard. When communication becomes indirect, defensive, or passive-aggressive, the damage is not always loud, but it builds. This episode is about translation. Him, what he says. Her, what she hears. Because words create reaction, and reaction creates outcome. Point 1. He may say, "You don't listen." She thinks, "I hear every word. Are you saying I'm not doing what you ask?" I follow through. I ask questions for clarity sometimes. That doesn't mean I'm not listening. Point 2. He may say, "Maybe you're not built for this." She thinks, "So now I'm inadequate?" I've been trying. If something is wrong, explain it. Don't question who I am because something feels hard. Point 3. He may say, "I'm going to be working a lot of hours." She thinks,
definition down and look at it on simpler terms. A steady effort. That's a firmly fixed, balanced attempt to maintain a course of action, purpose, or belief, meaning to keep a goal or a value ongoing and unceasing. In spite of difficulty. This is my favorite part. This ending to our definition means that you are defying all the potential setbacks that could arise and hinder you from reaching your objective. There's no giving up or calling it quits. Okay. Definition down and look at it on simpler terms. A steady effort. That's a firmly fixed, balanced attempt to maintain a course of action, purpose, or belief, meaning to keep a goal or a value ongoing and unceasing. In spite of difficulty. This is my favorite part. This ending to our definition means that you are defying all the potential setbacks that could arise and hinder you from reaching your objective. There's no giving up or calling it quits. Okay.
Episode 7. Men shall pause, freedom to travel and cruise. Let's tell the truth today. This wasn't about a trip, it was about control. Before they parted ways, he invited her on vacation with him and a few others. She said no, not because she was bitter, not because she was rebellious. She said no because she wanted something she never had with him. Pampering, intentional planning, soft treatment. To feel like the destination, not an add-on. Now here's the part people don't say out loud. She's in menopause. And society acts like when a woman reaches this phase, she's supposed to shrink. Like desire expires. Like wanting more is inappropriate. But menopause isn't the end of desire. It's clarity. The hormones settle. The confusion fades, the tolerance lowers. Now she knows exactly what she wants and what she didn't get. So when he said, it's not in a woman's nature to want multiple men, what he really meant was, it makes me uncomfortable that you might choose differently. Because men reinvent themselves at 50 and get applauded. Women rediscover themselves at 50 and get questioned. Let's be honest. She's not looking for chaos. She's looking for care, and lucky for her, she has a friend who's a travel consultant. So let's talk options. If she wants ocean, privacy, and real luxury, a Caribbean sailing aboard the Celebrity Beyond, 7 nights of elevated dining, spa days, balcony views. That's not party energy, that's grown woman glow. If she wants something quick but still indulgent, a Bahamas escape on Utopia of the Seas. 3 nights. Sunday. Water. Recharge without overthinking. And if she wants scenic, reflective, powerful, imagine Alaska aboard the Ruby Princess. 10 nights. Glaciers. Stillness. The kind of trip that matches a woman stepping into her next chapter. This isn't about having multiple husbands. It's about finally experiencing multiple dimensions of life. There's a difference. She refused that original trip because she no longer wants to be included. She wants to be prioritized. Menopause doesn't make a woman desperate. It makes her decisive. And when a woman becomes decisive, anyone who benefited from her uncertainty starts calling it unnatural. What's unnatural is expecting her to accept less in her second act than she tolerated in her first. So if you're listening and thinking about your own reset, your own pampered getaway, your own I deserve this moment, call Lucy, travel consultant Lucy, Cruise Brothers. 443 677 7803, because freedom feels different when you plan it on purpose. And this time, she's not asking permission, she's booking the trip.
Definition down and look at it on simpler terms. A steady effort. That's a firmly fixed, balanced attempt to maintain a course of action, purpose, or belief, meaning to keep a goal or a value ongoing and unceasing. In spite of difficulty. This is my favorite part. This ending to our definition means that you are defying all the potential setbacks that could arise and hinder you from reaching your objective. There's no giving up or calling it quits. Okay.
Rant and Ravette. Touch and agree. Time travel of the mind. Past versus present. Letter from him. Dear me. The past is history. The present is a gift. Yet somehow I keep unpacking history like it still owes me something. Let's touch and agree. The past held accomplishments and failures. The accomplishments? Shared victories, moments where others helped build the stage. But the failures? They sting like a bee and stick like glue. It's strange how success fades quietly, but failure lingers loud. I replay the losses, the missteps, the moments I didn't lead well, and somehow they weigh more than everything that went right. The replication problem. Here's the part that unsettles me. I can't seem to duplicate certain successes. Was it timing? Was it the team? Was it hunger? Or was it a version of method no longer exists? That question keeps me time traveling, trying to rebuild old magic with new circumstances. And when it doesn't hit the same, I overthink, I pause, I analyze, I stall. The present. The present is different. New adventures, new people, new energy, new opportunities. Positivity, negativity, all mixed together. But growth means something now. Growing up means recognizing patterns. Patterns that didn't work. Patterns that felt powerful but were really coping mechanisms. Let's talk about that. The illusion of being wanted, the tattoos, my name on women's bodies, proof of impact, proof of desire, proof that I mattered. At least that's what it is.
firmly fixed, balanced attempt to maintain a course of action, purpose, or belief, meaning to keep a goal or a value ongoing and unceasing. In spite of difficulty, this is my favorite part. This ending to our definition means that you are defying all the potential setbacks that could arise and hinder you from reaching your objective. There's no giving up or calling it quits.
Rant and rave meeting of the minds, or battle of wills. Why does it feel like every time I ask for something, there's already a prepared no? Or a whole presentation? Like a garbage can-led service version of a corporate pitch. Polished, detailed, but built to say I'm not getting what I want. It feels like instead of partnership, I'm getting strategy. And the strategy always ends in, this is what you get instead. Him. She always says no. Or she stalls. So why should I rush to give her what she wants when what I want never moves? It starts to feel one-sided. If my requests die in discussion, why should hers live in action? He calls it stalling. I call it thinking. He calls it denial. I call it discernment. Some of the things he demands aren't aligned with the moment. They aren't wise for where we're trying to go. I've seen enough to know what impulsive decisions cost. I don't say no. I advise that it could be a setback. Him. Sometimes she should just do what I ask. Not everything needs a forecast. Not everything needs a board meeting. Sometimes I want to feel followed, supported, backed. And sometimes I need to feel safe. The track record hasn't been neutral. It's been damaging. I've watched choices set us back. And I know what I was taught. What builds, what produces, what sustains. If I override what I know is right just to prove loyalty, I lose the very structure that keeps us standing. And once I lose that, I lose myself. The real conflict. He equates agreement with respect. She equates wisdom with survival. He wants obedience in moments. She wants sustainability over time. He fears being undermined. She fears repeating mistakes. This is not about yes or no. This is about authority versus accountability, validation versus vision, impulse versus investment. Now, the question becomes, is this a leadership issue? Or is this a trauma response on both sides dressed up as principle? Do you want to go deeper into the track record next? Or...
Definition down and look at it on simpler terms. A steady effort. That's a firmly fixed, balanced attempt to maintain a course of action, purpose, or belief, meaning to keep a goal or a value ongoing and unceasing. In spite of difficulty, this is my favorite part. This ending to our definition means that you are defying all the potential setbacks that could arise and hinder you from reaching your objective. There's no giving up or calling it quits. Okay.
Rant and Raves, Episode 10. Drain or recharge? That's the real question. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately turned around and walked right back out? Nothing happened. No one said anything, but something felt off. That's energy. And the same thing happens in relationships. Some people recharge you, some people drain you. You can see it over time. Two people who should be building each other up instead start wearing each other down, arguing the obvious, competing instead of cooperating, jealousy instead of encouragement, no support, no caregiving, and slowly, both people become tired, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You can see it in their faces. They are aging each other, because love was never supposed to feel like survival. Real connection should recharge both people. Support recharges, respect recharges, caregiving recharges, peace recharges, but draining someone, that always has a cost. Peace, time. It costs years that can never be returned, nights that could have been peaceful, moments that could have been joyful. Energy is powerful. Use it wisely, because the wrong connection doesn't just waste time, it slowly drains life